There are a lot of things about what I'm doing right now that just screams tourist, but I wanted to update you as to how my first night in Berlin went. I want to share a really interesting story of how I got lost in Berlin. So at the start of my trip, it was really exciting. I had my bags packed. I didn't know what the trip would unfold and how it would look. All I knew is I'm going alone and I'm going to Europe for 2 weeks. And I got to the Pittsburgh airport, which is where I was going to fly from there to Iceland and then on to Berlin in Germany. And there was a massive rainstorm and it delayed our flight by 2 or 3 hours. I got to Iceland and missed my second flight. And in the back of my head, I was already preparing, okay, I'm gonna stay in Iceland for at least 24 hours and I'll rent a taxi and I'll do this and this and this and this. And I even met some other people who were in the same shoes as me and we were making plans together. But then it turns out that my flight, unlike the rest of theirs, got delayed like half a day. They had to wait a full 24 hours. So I was left having to fly on my own. After some extended flights, I land in Berlin. I make it through security and no one stamps my passport. It's really weird and I'm very conflicted, like what's going on, and so I go up to a desk and I ask them, but most of the airport has been shut down. It's kind of like nighttime, less flights going out, etc. And they're like, well, where'd you fly from? And I'm like, Frankfurt. And they're like, and they didn't stamp it there? No, I had 45 minutes to catch my next flight. Where'd you come from before that? Iceland? If God had not delayed me there and given me the chance to go out and roam Iceland, like, all bets were off. I would have been in Europe without a stamp on my passport. So praise be to God for that delay. I got to the airport and found out that just Wi-Fi wasn't as accessible on my phone as I wanted it to be. So I pulled it up on my computer, figured out how to get there. I knew that I have an Airbnb and I'm very late, like it's 11 o'clock at night, and I think she was expecting me there around 9. And so I'm freaking out and I go outside to this ticket thing and it lists off all these different, you know, ticket options, and I buy like the medium price one because I have no idea. Is this a short trip? Is it a long trip? I have no idea. How do you understand the standards? Like, what is considered a short trip or a long trip? No clue. So I get onto the bus and I like clearly look like a tourist. I have my bags, I have my passport around my neck, like that just is awkward, and then I have my phone and it's like glued to my hand and I'm just like looking at it, and I had taken a picture of the route to get there. I couldn't manage to get onto the Wi-Fi with my phone, so I pulled it up on my computer and I'd taken a picture of what was on my screen and how to get there. So I'm staring at my phone and there's a bunch of words about stops that I could or could not get off on, and I'm like staring at the road and I'm like, will I know? Will I know if I miss it? What happens if I miss it? I don't have cell service in Europe, so if I miss it, I'm done for. Well, I managed to find the first stop and I get off. I'm like standing there and I'm like, am I supposed to be on this side of the tracks or the other? Like, I have no idea. And I'm just like looking around, there's graffiti on the walls and everyone just seems sketch. Probably because it's in a language that I don't understand and it's dark outside and I don't know what I'm doing and I just feel really uncomfortable. So then I board the train and I'm trying to get away from people, but it's a packed train. It's a very packed, I think it's called the S-Bahn or U-Bahn, I don't know. Anyway, it's very packed And like, I just have these people and I know that they're watching me, and I'm just very self-conscious of it, and some of them sit down next to me, and I just like wanted to run away and hide, and I didn't know what to do with my passport because it's hanging around my neck and it just clearly screams tourist, you know? Well, anyway, I figure out, and I'm like, literally, they are announcing every single stop in German, and you know, I have no idea what they're saying, what words they're saying, and I like literally am like staring at the screen. Luckily it says, like, it spells it out for you, and I'm like looking at my phone going, okay, it's not that one, and it's not that one, oh, it's that one. And I start to recognize a word, and I don't remember it anymore, but it clearly must mean next stop or next station kind of thing, and then it would say the word. So anyway, I get off and I have an address, you know, for my Airbnb, and I'm looking at the picture that I have taken from my computer, and it says walk 10 minutes to your destination. I hadn't thought to click on the walk 10 minutes, zoom it in so I would know exactly what streets or what route to get there. I hadn't done any of that. I was panicking, it was scary, and I didn't really want to admit to people, you know, I'm a tourist, but what else am I supposed to do? So I go up to a stranger and I pull up my Airbnb and I show him, and I'm like, do you know where this address is at? And he turns to me and says, that's not an address. I'm like, are you kidding me? What is that? Then what is that? It has a street, it has numbers, like what is it? He's like, I don't know, but I know that street. So he points me down, out of the train station, to the right, and you'll be there. So I come out and it's dark and I can't really see anything around me. There's a couple shops in the street, but all lights are off for the most part. Then I get to this park and it's pitch black and I hear voices around me, and I'm just thinking, you know, like, this is the dream from your nightmares. And then blocks from her house, where I was staying with my Airbnb, I lost my trail. And I am on the brink of tears, and I just stop and I go, I can't find this house. I can't call anyone. I'm like looking around trying to see if there's a big billboard that says hotel so I could just buy a room for the night. Nothing. The one thing that is lit up, well, there were two. It looked like a grocery store and a bar. So I go into the bar, and it turns out this is a hookah bar. And I ended up in a bar where they were smoking bonds, or whatever the heck they're called, I don't know. It was just really uncomfortable, but they gave me their Wi-Fi password. My Airbnb host walked the like 2 blocks to come get me, and she has a gorgeous apartment, really nice, and was really polite, very helpful. And I tried not to work myself up and like freak out, because just like riding a transportation system where if I got lost, I don't have Wi-Fi, I don't know how to get from point A to point B, like there's nothing, I know nothing, like it freaked me out like none other. But anyway, so I made it, and then today, this morning, with people alive and awake and it being light outside, it just feels a lot more comfortable. At the end of it, I knew, God, you got me through this. You showed me that even though things were not going as I planned, that there are kind people in this world, which I knew, but you know, when you're in that situation, you just don't know how much you can trust a stranger. And God got me through, and He got me to my Airbnb, and I was safe and sound. And that's what I want to share with you today, this Bible verse. It's spoken right when, or Jesus says this, right about the time He's ascending into heaven, and He is telling His disciples, you know, I'm leaving, but I'm with you. It's Matthew 8, verse 20, and it reads, remember, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. God was with me, in every single stressful and freaky moment on that trip. He's with you every single stressful and freaky moment of your everyday, whether you're traveling or whether you're at home and fears surround you. And He's there when you're joyful and things are going as you plan. I just want to encourage you to remember that God has never left you, He has never forsaken you, and He will always be with you. I'd also like to encourage you to consider joining our Facebook page. This is a unique opportunity to join in a discussion with other people who love to travel, who are experiencing God out and about. We often go to church on Sundays, but when we're traveling, our Christian community can be spread out and hard to find. This is a way to join others online, praying for one another, joining in Bible studies, and sharing your travel tips and advice. And so if you would join us on Facebook or like us on Instagram, I hope that you can join in the discussion of how God is working even when we're lost. God's blessings and safe travels. Bye.